Hi there, it's me, Camino Candace. Last time we left off with me on my way to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. There I am, only 2 train transfers and 11 and a half hours to go. And finally, I arrive. I immediately see this iconic building when getting off the train. It was such a surreal moment, I made sure to take a photo. Obviously. And I wasn't the only one. If you've seen the movie The Way, you'll know what I'm talking about. After walking about 20 minutes, I finally made it into town and went straight to the Pilgrim's office. It was such an incredible view while I waited my turn in line to get my credential. FYI, the office provides several language options for pilgrims, so be sure to get in line for the one representing the language you speak. After dropping my things in my albergue, I walked around a bit to see the town before going for dinner. I wanted to take a moment to sit in the energy of finally walking my Camino after 11 and a half years of dreaming about it. I'm only now realizing the length of time to arrive that day matches in the number of years I waited to walk Camino. Carl Jung would say there's no such thing as coincidence. This was definitely synchronicity. I started the next day later than I wanted because it took a lot longer to pack up my belongings than anticipated. I probably should have done a few trial runs at home, but it was too late for that. They say the Camino provides, and it sure did that day with this gorgeous sunrise. Hashtag no filter. That day, I was amongst other pilgrims, including Nicole and Jez, who I had met on my final train the day before. They were my first official Camino friends, and now they're my Camino family. I miss them, yet I feel so fortunate to have been able to catch up with them for an afternoon last year when I was back in London, England. Love you guys. I continued on that day mostly on my own, every now and then speaking with other pilgrims during rest breaks. It was pretty windy up in the Pyrenees at certain points, and I wondered how people who were smaller than me managed to not blow away in the wind, especially because there were times I was struggling. Thank goodness for my hiking poles and my channeling the strength of the mountains to keep me rooted. Exhaustion started setting in about halfway through the day. There was a random food truck at one point where I bought a juice and spent an hour enjoying the view while figuring out how I was even going to make it to Roncevalles. Again, I was seriously questioning my capability to walk Camino and my sanity. Thanks to other pilgrims and their encouraging words from their own previous Camino experiences, along with another pilgrim who spent the remainder of the day walking with me, I managed to make it in the end. The final descent into Roncevalles was no joke, and by the time I came to the bottom of the final hill, looked up and saw the monastery where I was staying for the night, I could hardly think. I accidentally used the men's washroom to shower, I cried at dinner, and I could hardly walk by the time I went to bed. But none of this mattered, because all I knew is I had made it, and my adventure had truly begun. Well, that's it for now. Stay tuned for what happened after leaving Roncevalles. Until next time, I'm Camino Candace, and I'm eternally Camino dreaming. Buen Camino.